So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world. And welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector. And tonight we have Cecile. She's the bass player and she sings in the band The Moth. So, they're a trio from Germany and they play sludge doom, but there's also sprinkled in some pop influences and some music from the 80s, at least on their newest album that's coming on September 22nd, and it's called Frost. So, Cecile, how are you today?
Thank you. I'm fine. I got a little sleep. Not much sleep this night because I had to work early in the morning and worked almost all day. But now I'm fit again. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, rock and roll sometimes cannot pay the whole bill, so
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't.
unfortunately, well, so we have to do other stuff. So you're called the Moths because I know there's a few band. There's actually a doom metal band here in Puerto Rico called Moths with an S.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
yeah, they're pretty cool. And I think there's another band called the Moth something. So yeah, but
Well,
you
there
guys are
is,
the
I
Moth.
think there is, yeah, the
Yeah,
Moth Gatherer and the Black Moth, I think.
yeah.
Those are the two
There's
ones
a
I
few.
know.
But you
Yeah.
guys are the Moth, so you've been around now like 10 years. Your first album dropped in 2013, and now
Yes.
you're with a new label, and you're
Mm-hmm.
ready to unleash your fourth album. So tell us a little bit about like the changing of the labels and how that has benefited the band for the sound of this new album.
Yeah, I don't think that the sound got better or worse through the change, or thanks to the
It's a good
change. Or
thing that it didn't get worse.
yes, no, it didn't. I know what you're referring to.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, the last album we brought out was in 2017 at this Charming Man Records, and then we had some kind of a break because we felt a little burned out, you could say, because we had really worked a lot for years and rehearsed a lot, played a lot, toured a lot, and the feedback wasn't quite what we had maybe wished for or expected. And it was a bit like, oh, we have to take a little break, not rehearse that often anymore, and yeah, keep it cool. And so there was a natural break anyways, and then Corona hit.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so there was an artificial break, an unwanted break, and lots of personal stuff going on as well. And still, we kept on rehearsing and writing new songs, but it was a much longer process than it used to be in the past when we rehearsed. Like it was a job. It was almost like a passion job, you could say. So we rehearsed a lot, and that became less. But still, this album developed and developed, and at some moment it felt like it was ready. And then, of course, we had to think about where will we put this new music out. And then it was not really turning against the other label, but rather turning towards the other one, because two bands that are on this label, that is called Exile on Mainstream, are bands that we played with and got friends with. So it was rather turning to a label where we have friends. And we honestly talked about that with our old label, this Charming Man Records. And he was really cool about that. He said, yeah, I'm fine with that. If this is what you feel like, then go ahead. I myself was thinking of taking a step back anyways and not releasing so much. So it was a perfect timing for a label switch.
So did that extra long break like help you like work more on the songs and what how you wanted to take the sound of the Moth?
I mean, I think we never really have. If this is what your question, points to, is we never really have a concept or anything when we start writing songs. It's just we meet, we write songs, and sometimes some riffs or songs don't make it to one album, but then they will be on the next one. It's just I don't know, some natural process that is going on. And sorry, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Oh, so no, so yeah. Did that extra time help you like
Yeah,
hone the
exactly.
sound
Yeah,
of the
I don't
band?
know if it helped, but it in some way it forced us to work more on the songs, because there were always long breaks in between. for personal reasons or for the Corona reasons, or maybe there were times when we just were allowed to meet 2 people, you know, or we were not allowed to meet at all because of Corona, or we had to do tests before, or we had to go home at a special time. There was a curfew for a few weeks and months in Hamburg, Germany, where we live. And so it was very spread for a very long period of time. And we always had to go back to the same songs, and maybe that helped, maybe it didn't. I don't think it was something that we did on purpose, or that we really thought about. I think it was just the natural process, as it always is when we get together. But this time it was very, spread on a very long period of time.
A longer time,
yeah, than usual.
So talking to you, it seems like you're the type of band that you like to get together and jam the songs. Like you get together and jam, and there you get ideas, because you know there's bands that work like apart and they send people. But as you're explaining to me, you're a band that you need to be together in the same room and just see what happens.
Yes, that's true. It's not like I would write a riff at home, or Freden would, and then we send it to us via email or something. I could never work like that, and I don't think Freden could. So the guitarist, his name is Freden, and we meet in the rehearsal room, and then either he has a riff he brought from home, or I have one, or I'm coming up with something while we are just standing there, or while he goes to the bathroom. Sometimes he just goes to the bathroom and I just play something, and then he comes back and says, "What was that?" And I say, "I don't know. It was just something I was playing. I'll do it again." And he does it, and then we play it together, and oh, okay, sounds quite good. So it's really organic as well.
So instead of you going to the bathroom with your phone, you take your bass.
Exactly. And I write some riffs.
Well,
it takes a minute, you see.
That's more creative. That's that you use your time well, instead of like scrolling through TikTok for 30 minutes.
But I go to the bathroom too.
And
every once in a while.
And not doing anything productive. So yeah, the sound of the Moth. So when you started the band almost 10 years ago, like what music inspired you when you were growing up?
Okay, when I was growing up, when I was really small, like 10 years old, the first band that really hit me was the Beatles, actually. And I listened to them for at least 2 years. I only listened to the Beatles for 2 years.
Never heard of them. No, I'm joking.
Oh, you should.
I'm joking.
You're missing out on something.
Obviously, everyone has heard them.
They have funny names as well, Ringo and so it's quite funny. Yeah, and I also listened to them later, but that was like a really intense phase where I just listened to them. And then after that, I listened to all kinds of music. Not all kinds, that's not true. I tried to find a music that would really touch me, but I didn't really, until I heard Freden's band. So Freden was in a band when he was like 18, 19 years old. And somehow I got to listen to that band, and they really hit me. So that was my second, I would say, musical passion that really, I don't know, kickstarted something inside of me maybe, or where I really felt at home. And a few years later, we got to play in a band that wasn't the Moth yet. It was another band. He played the drums and I played the bass, and we had a guitarist and singer. So that was this. And then later on, 2 bands that I really like and still listen a lot to are High on Fire. You probably know them.
Oh yeah.
And yes, and Conan, maybe you know them as well. They are very great.
I interviewed
Conan.
the singer from
you
Conan.
did?
Yes.
Great, John. So you interviewed John, yes.
Yeah,
so
I did,
these are
like
bands
a year ago when they were putting out a new album.
Yeah, they do it regularly. They are working hard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so those are bands that touch me as well, but I don't know if I can say influence, because it's music I listen to that really touches me, but the music that comes out of me isn't something I have I can really grab. It just comes out of me, and it's nothing I can think of in my head. It's not like, oh, I want to write a riff that's like this and this, or I want it to be sad or powerful. I just can't do that. It just comes out, and I don't know where it comes from, but it's there. So influence, yes or no, I don't know.
Okay. So, what are some of the themes that you touch on the new record, Frost?
Okay, so you mean recurrent themes that are
Or
always
yeah, themes in general. Or is there a recurring theme? Yeah, you can tell me. Yeah.
yeah, most probably yeah, it's about personal hardships, I would say. So things that you experience that aren't really funny, quite the opposite, but you still have to go through it, and it's about that. And yeah, in my case, it's mostly about that. And then there are lyrics that Freden wrote mostly that I don't know really what it's about. We don't really talk about it. So it's quite a new experience that we get to talk about the lyrics, because we never used to. We just I think we always interpreted it. Everyone, I mean, Freden thought about this way, and maybe I interpreted it the other way, but somehow we got along. And then now it's rather I write the lyrics to one song and he writes the lyrics to another one. So I don't know about his lyrics, but in my case, it was, yeah, a lot about ups and downs, I would say, rather downs in this case, but about how to overcome them as well, and what it feels like to go through them. Yeah, stuff like that.
Okay. Which ones did you write on the new one?
The lyrics?
Yeah.
Okay, for example, Frost, the title track, is it the stroke or the chorus part, I think. You have the first part, it says come down to see the light, that's Frieden, and then the longer singing parts are, yeah, I wrote the longer singing parts where I sing alone, I think. Yeah, and then there are other songs too. Now as I don't have them right in front of me, it's hard to say. Battlefield probably, but it's always also a discussion and a talking about it with Freden, even if he doesn't really know what it's about. We still talk about the text, of course, if it sounds good, if it feels good to sing it that way. Yeah, there are a few more, but I would have to have the record here to tell you all the tracks.
Okay, no worries.
I can get it if you want to and tell you, but
oh yeah, if you want to, yeah, you can okay. Get it. It's right there. Yeah.
Yes,
awesome.
I'm quite happy that it's finally done. So I have it in my room to have a look at it. Yeah, so there's okay, Cathedral is a mix of Freden and me, I think. Hundreds is also a mix of his and my lyrics. In the City is mostly Freden. Dust is, yeah, I think I wrote the lyrics. Yeah, and mostly it's a common work.
So you gotta, that's the, so everyone to look at the cover for the vinyl. Yeah, that's a cool cover. Yeah, and I like the logo. Can you talk a little bit about the artwork? Like, yes. What was the inspiration for the artwork? And I can show it. I know you showed it right there, but I have it right here.
Yeah, it was just we were thinking of what we could use as a. Oh, yeah, that looks good. We were thinking of what we could use as a cover, as an artwork for the cover, and I didn't really have an idea yet, so I was scrolling through Instagram and I just put the hashtag artwork for sale. I had read it somewhere, so I used it, hashtag artwork for sale, and scrolled through, yeah, the propositions that were given to me by Instagram. And then I saw one drawing with 5 or 6 mouths on it, and one of the mouths was this one. And I saw it and I thought, yeah, that's it. So yeah, I screenshotted it and I sent it to the band. Yeah, one liked it immediately, the other didn't really like it in the beginning, but yeah, finally it made it. And I contacted the artist who drew this, and it's she's an American. Her name is Sarah Breen. On Instagram you can follow her if you type at Sarah X Shadows. And yeah, she does all her drawings with ball pens, biros.
Interesting.
Yeah, so she really does it all with red, black, I don't know what other colors she uses, blue maybe, and yeah, does it with the ball pens only, and she can even draw with both hands at the same time. So she's
wow,
crazy talented, I would say.
yeah, and this is an image that it grabs your attention when you see it, you know, because there's bloody lips and the
Yes,
blood and yeah, it does grab the attention
yes.
when you see this image in particular. So I
Mhm.
was reading that you recorded this album live in only 24 hours.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Tell me a little about that because that sounds crazy that you did this whole album in 24 hours. How was that? Did you like book 24 hours? Did you sleep? Was it like an episode of 24? Was it?
Um, it was I think 8 hours on Saturday and 8 on the other day. And I think we just work like that because we have always recorded like this. First, because it's expensive to go into the studio.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're ready, you're ready. And either it works out and there's
Oh yeah,
this
I'm
kind
sure
of
you
magic.
practiced those songs like so
Yeah.
much that you were ready to go and just knock
Yeah.
them out of the park.
Yeah, this time we didn't practice that much as we used to, as I told you, for all those reasons. There are 3 kids in the band, so we have 2 daddies and they are busy with them as well, of course. So it wasn't quite that much of rehearsing, but it was enough at some point. And what I wanted to tell you is that I think from the first record on, we have been recording live. It's just the way that works best for us. And sometimes it's difficult for the sound, especially for the drums, because you have the other instruments bleeding into the microphone of the drums as well, and the other way around and stuff. But yeah, it's a special energy, and if we're ready, we're ready. And I remember that for the second album that we brought out, and then Rise, our drummer was sick on Saturday, so we had booked the studio for 2 days, and he was so sick. He played one song and then he went home, but he came back on Sunday, so we did the whole album on one day, actually.
So
Yeah.
when you were doing this album is 10 songs. Did you do like 5 songs one day and the next day 5 songs, or you tried
I
to
don't
get
even
as much
remember
of?
really. Maybe it was 6 on the first day and 4 on the other, or it was 7 and 3. I don't really. Maybe it was even 10 on the first day, and then we replayed a few songs that we weren't quite satisfied with, so that we did them again. I think it was rather this way, that we did all songs on Saturday, met again on Sunday, and said, let's listen to them, and maybe let's play this song again and the other one. But for the 24 hours, it's not quite correct, because for the solos, the guitarist plays, we did them later on, because the solos weren't ready yet. So we did them later on, and the vocals as well. The vocals, this time we played them. Yeah, we did them later as well, because the texts weren't really ready. So, yeah.
And you had some additional vocals on the track In the City with Emma Billingham and Emily Yardley. And that was a track that to me stood out because it had like a little bit of new wave 80s sound to it.
Yes.
In part of the song. Was that and plus you had the extra layer, the extra voices. So what inspired that song? Because it's a very different track.
What kind of a song it is?
Oh, In the City, yeah, because it had like that new wave vibe to it.
That's true. Yeah, I think those were riffs. Those are riffs that Frieden came up with during rehearsal, and I don't know how it was exactly, but then a drummer started playing some kind of beat that was very disco, new wave, pop stuff as well. And then we said, there's a very long part where you now have these crazy Miami Vice sounds on the guitar. It's not a keyboard, it's actually the guitars, but with a special sound. And when we were in the rehearsal room, we said, that should be some kind of 80s track somehow. It feels like an 80s track. So when it wasn't even there, the sound, we already knew which direction it should go to. And actually it worked out to really transfer this to the sound. And now it's a bit an 80s track. And the girls that are singing on this track too are 2 or 4 women we always meet when we tour the UK. And they have been so nice to us and fans of us since the first time. So we wanted to get them involved because they are really special. And especially in the metal scene, you don't have that many women. And then they are really cool and tough and nice and had always been supporting us. So we wanted to get them involved. And 2 of them said, yeah, of course, we'll try it. So they we sent them the track, and they just listened to it somewhere at home and sang along on their phone and sent us
Oh,
the voice
awesome.
recordings of their phone. So we somehow mixed them in the mix. We got to include those tracks, those voices. Yeah.
No,
I
awesome.
think you should hear them a little more, but somehow it didn't work out to get them out more. But yeah, next time maybe
Yeah.
in a real
So,
studio.
so in this album, which track for you is your like the one that you like the most in the album?
For me personally, it's Frost. It's my favorite track because I guess there's a lot of me inside of this track, and inside of the lyrics, and I like a lot of them. It's hard to say. Let me have a look again. It's really hard to say. I also like a lot Me, Myself, and Enemy. It's the first song.
Yeah, that's the first
And
track.
and since we had been since we came up with this, I think Frieden came up with the riffs to that one, and I said to him, this has to be the opener. It's such a great riff. It must be the opener, and it finally got to be the opener of the album. Yeah, and I also like like a lot of them. It's hard to say actually. I like Hundreds a lot too. It's a very special track too. It's not very metal. It's rather calm. It's rather calm and rather posed. I really like that as well. It's a new style for us, and I like it.
Okay.
Yes.
So the album's coming out soon on the 22nd. Obviously, you have it on vinyl. So I'll put the link so people can pre-order that. And I know that you are having some shows, including a show on the 22nd that's going to be the album release show. Where are you going to play that show?
It's in a very old punker club where you have it's actually a club that is run by punks and by people who I don't know what the word is in English. They went into the houses and kept the houses. I don't know how you call this. Squats, something like a squat.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Something like that. It's not the
okay.
I hope they won't listen to it here because it's not the right word, I guess. But it's been it's a street that's very famous for Hamburg because there's always been riots and fights, especially in the 80s, between the police and the people who wanted to keep those houses and stay in those houses. And 2 or 3 of those houses actually could be saved, and they are still existent and still there until today. And 2 of those houses are clubs. One is rather a bar with a little stage, and the other one is a small music club. And we are playing that small music club with a band from Berlin that are also on a label and who are called Trillion. Yeah.
Okay. Fun times. Hopefully,
Yes.
no fighting will be involved.
No. I hope so too.
Okay. So the album I would recommend it to people who like a little bit of doom, but this is not your typical like slow doom. There's fast songs. There's like some punk, like
it's doom,
punk
sludge,
energy.
pop punk. Yeah.
Yeah, pop punk. So yeah, when I heard when I saw like the description and I listened to the music, I'm like, well, it sounds a little bit different. Because doom can be so slow, but no, your
Yes.
songs are pretty fast paced, and most of them are short songs, except for like the last ones that are like a 5 and 6 minute one. But besides that, they're like 2 to 3 minute songs.
Yes, exactly.
They're typically like shorter in length. So I always like to ask like musicians that I interview, like besides your music, like is there like to have your musical influence fresh, like what new artists or what music are you currently spinning?
Yeah, that's a funny question that you get to ask me that, because I really listen to so little music. It's crazy. It's I should be ashamed, but really I almost listen to like nothing. And yeah, one of the last things that I like to listen to that was new to me, but it's it's been a few years as well now, is from the UK, and they are called Bast, B-A-S-T, Bast, and I really enjoyed them. And then for me, it doesn't really work to go through Bandcamp or stuff like that and to look for music. I like to be convinced in live. So if I go to shows, I love to see bands, for example, during festivals that I haven't seen before. And if they catch me, though I haven't listened to them before, usually it's love forever. But yeah, it has to happen.
Okay.
So I'm not really a good person to ask this question to. I'm sorry. Maybe when after the interview, I would think of something, I'm sure, but right now I don't. Yeah.
Well, you said one, you said bass, so yeah, I know, yeah, and plus sometimes when you're working on music so much, probably the least thing you want to do is like listen to more music. Sometimes I would imagine.
Yeah, I like listening to music, but it really has to grab me by the heart, and it's not I don't like to listen to music just in the background, or it doesn't work for me. For me, it really has to to really touch me somewhere in the core, and then I love to listen to it. But yeah, it doesn't happen every 2 days, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Cecile, it's been fun chatting with you about the Moth and the upcoming album Frost. Like, I'll put the link for people who want to pre-order it, so they can get it before September the 22nd. So, anything you like to say to the fans that are watching this video?
Yeah, thank you very much for being a fan, for listening to our music, to be better listeners than I am a listener to other bands. And I will try to do my best and listen to more music and more bands and support you too. Yeah, and besides, yeah, it's a very personal album, and maybe you can read between the lines, or maybe it touches you, even if it's not the same message for you, but we hope it does get you somehow.
Yeah, the music is up for interpretation. Sometimes the best lyrics are the ones that like you go into it, and then some listener will get something different out of that song.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's always interpretation, and even if it doesn't, if maybe I didn't intend to mean this, it's not even always the lyrics. It can just be the feeling.
The feeling of the song. Yeah.
Yeah.
So people, the Moth Frost is out September 22nd. Go get it, so you can support newer music, and it can get out there, and people can still listen to it. Cecile, I'm not shaming you. You're like, oh my God.
I feel ashamed though.
Oh. No, that's okay. Don't worry about that. So until next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield on a Couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you.
Thanks.
And good night.